Welcome back to the channel, YouTube. All right, I got one quick story for you, a couple of Q&As. Before we get started, I just want to let you guys know down in the description below, there are links to t-shirts, which are on sale now because summer is being phased out and they're bringing in the winter clothing, sweatshirts, hoodies, things like that, 7.5 t-shirts. Also, there's coffee mugs, much like this one that you guys always see me drinking out of. And also the book, I think, is on sale this month. It's already very reasonably priced. I think it's only $11.95. I think they're running a special this month on Amazon. Betrayal in Blue, The Shocking Memoir of the Scandal that Rocked the NYPD. Most likely you're here because of the 7.5 documentary. You see me in the 7.5 documentary. You follow me because of that. If you want some stories that were edited out of the documentary, didn't make the cutting room floor, they are in the book. Okay, so story we have today is out of California, Alameda County. We have Deputy Devin Williams Jr. He's only 24 years old. He's on the job less than a year, still on probation, this guy. This is, obviously it's about police corruption, but this doesn't really involve corruption. It just involves a police officer who committed a crime, not while he was on duty. If he was had any job, he probably would have committed the same crime. He was involved in a love triangle with a older woman, and obviously she was married. I believe she was they didn't really give his reasoning for getting into this, but I believe she was trying to break it off, or her husband found out about it. And Devin Williams went to the place of residence where his lover lived, involved in this triangle. And her husband, of course, was at home at the time. Well, common law husband. I don't know if they were legally married or not. State's husband in a couple of articles I read. He goes there and he murders both of them. And there are 4 other family members in the house at this time, including a child. He does not kill them, does not harm them, leaves the residence and flees the scene, leaving these witnesses behind. So he kills his lover and her lover's husband. So he takes off, and a couple of hours later, he pulls over, calls up police department, and turns himself in for a double homicide. It doesn't really say, any explanation that he gives. Obviously there's no justification for it or anything like that. So he's arrested for double homicide. This happened September 7th of this year, 2022, so just a couple of weeks ago. And we'll be following up on that. If I'm sure he's just going to plead out, since he called up and turned himself in. I doubt he'll take it to trial. I was interested to know, and it didn't mention if he used his department of weapon in this or a different weapon. It was, trying to get away with it or not. I'll probably not, because he left everybody else alive and didn't harm them. So he might have just used his department issued weapon. All right, so that's all one story. It was a quick one. I could go deeper into it, but I didn't. It's not really police corruption. It's just about a cop who got himself in trouble, committing a double homicide. All right, Q&As. People wanted to know, obviously everything is on the internet now, and Nigerian scams and all the type of scams that you get through emails and things like that. If I ever witnessed any scams while on the job in real life before the internet existed. So there were a couple. One came across, I wasn't with my partner at the time, I was with another cop. And this usually they usually prey on the elderly on this, because they don't have much common sense. They're very naive. It's called a Jamaican handkerchief scam. Person, usually a woman, approaches an elderly woman or an elderly man large sum of money in a handkerchief, wadded up in a handkerchief, and they're asking the victim to would they help them go secure a hotel room or something that they fled a domestic abuse situation, something like that, and they have no ID because they're here in the country illegally. All these scams always involve people in the country illegally because then people feel they have to help them. So as they're explaining this to the elderly person or the very naive young person, who they think they could get over on, another person comes along and says, who is in on the scam, and says, you really shouldn't be walking around with that much money. You should be keeping it in the bank. And then the person explains how they don't trust banks and blah, blah, blah. And then the victim is trying to explain to them, oh, banks are very safe and all that. And they both persuade the victim into, well, if you withdraw some money to show me, if I deposit my money, I could easily withdraw my money. Show me how you could withdraw your money very easily. And, that will convince me to deposit my money and open my own account. So the willing, naive victim goes to the bank and withdraws a lot of money. And much like the person perpetrating the scam, they wrap it up in a handkerchief and they make a switch on the person. And they show the victim how to wad it up in a handkerchief, and then they're holding both of them. And obviously now the victim isn't aware that a switch is being made, and the perpetrator is handing them back the handkerchief, which isn't the original handkerchief with the money, or her handkerchief that also has her money. There's a third handkerchief that she has in her purse with wadded up newspaper wrapped in it. And they make a switch and they give her, oh, here's your money back. Thank you. I'll go to the bank now and deposit my money. And by the time this person opens up the handkerchief, it's wadded up newspaper. And that's how the scam is perpetrated. So depending on how much they get them to withdraw, usually somewhere near the amount that they show them the first time that they want to, deposit. So, and then of course they flee the scene, and by the time they realize that it's too late. So we came across that once, and one of the partners I was with, one of the guys I was working with temporarily for the day, he was this poor woman was crying, and oh my God, I lost all my money, blah, blah, blah. And the guy I was with is, how can you be so stupid? It was obviously a scam. And then she starts crying all over again. Oh my God. It's like, we just calmed it down. Why you got to, do that? And he said, but she's so stupid. So that's one scam. Another scam is the lottery scam. Usually after there's a big, lottery drawing, the perpetrators of this scam go to, the place that sells lottery tickets, and they play the winning numbers, either 5 or 6 of the numbers. Sometimes, most of the time they do 5 because it's hard to convince somebody, you won $8 million and you're going to, let them in on $8 million because you're illegal and can't collect it. So usually they play 5 of the winning numbers that just came in, but they're playing it that day. So it's actually for the next week. So when now they approach somebody who is naive and, doesn't really possess too much common sense, and go, I have this winning lottery ticket from last night. I got 5 or 6 numbers. It's worth $50,000, $60,000, but I'm illegal. I can't collect. And it's obviously the date on it is next week, but they have their finger over the date, and the people are just looking at the winning numbers. And oh my God, they are the winning numbers from last night's lottery, but it's not a valid ticket because it's for the next week. So they explain, they're in the country illegally. They can't collect it on the ticket. If you give whatever they think they could get from the victim, give me $5,000, $10,000 for the ticket, I'll let you go collect, and then we'll split the rest of the money. Split it even with you, 50-50. So of course the victim goes and gets money, and they hand over the ticket, and they don't realize the ticket is for next week. They go to the store to collect, and the lottery agent's like, yeah, this ticket's for next week. This isn't a winning ticket, and they lose out on money. So it came across that one a couple of times. Obviously there's nothing we can do because they don't know who is perpetrating the scam on them. It's, it's someone who's coming up, approaching strangers who they think they could get a scam over on, and they do. So you really don't hear much of those anymore. Everything is done over the internet now. It's way more anonymous than approaching somebody in the street. All right. So the other question was, I mentioned in my book, and I mentioned a couple of times on a podcast about, we've come across guns in the street and we don't arrest the person. We let them go and take their money, the drugs and their guns, whatever, and then end up turning the gun back out on the street. Or keep them for ourselves, or give them to friends and family. So in my book, I mentioned one about a 357 that we ended up giving to Mr. Joe, and then we retrieved it from Mr. Joe, and we gave it to Adams Lieutenant Elvis, and that ended up getting taken in the bodega robbery by Franklin and Koch. So they wanted to know what other guns did we come across. There were quite a few. I used to get once I retired, I would get a few from guys that were still on the job. They knew I had connections to the drug trade. They would hand me the guns that they took off of somebody in the streets and, sell this, see what you could get, keep some for yourself and give us the difference. So that happened a couple of times with guys from other precincts, guys that were still in the precinct that, wanted to move guns for money. I think I spoke about one of those situations once on one of the podcasts. Another time is, this is myself and my partner from the 7-5 Dowd. We go to a call, shots fired. We get to the call and we go on a location. There's a guy shot in the leg and there's a rifle in the hallway and you can't get the rifle out of the scene. Somebody's going to see us taking it, and all the cops start to show up on the scene. So we just want to get out of there. It's not our job. We want it as a backup to see if, we could grab any guns, cash or drugs on the scene. But other cops were showing up real quick, so we didn't get a chance to do anything. But as we're walking out, this car is parked in the street along the curb, and I see a 25 Raven sitting on top of a tire of a car, on the front tire. So as I walk by, I just scoop up the 25 Raven, put it in my pocket. I had a duty jacket at the time, just put it in the pocket, and we walk away. And that ended up going to a cop who was retired off the job. He got out on disability. He was looking to get a gun, and we sold the gun to him. Another one is we went to a call for drug sales, myself and my partner Dowd, and we get to the scene. It's an abandoned house. No doors, no windows, just structure with no glass, nothing, just empty windows all around. Very dilapidated when you go inside. A lot of the sheetrock is knocked out. It probably wasn't even sheetrock at the time. It was probably plasterboard. And the holes all throughout the walls. We're looking at the walls because if it's drug sales, normally somebody would hide drugs or money in the location if the cops showed up inside the walls. So we started looking around, and my partner finds a shotgun. And he sort of keeps it in his hand and under his arm as we walk out of the building. We walk out of the building, he has a shotgun, and this is 1987, and I believe, I'm not sure, but I believe when they raided his house in 92, they recovered a shotgun in Suffolk County, probably the same shotgun. So after we leave the scene, I'm not sure if it was later that day or the next day, we get called into the ICO's office, Integrity Control Officer. Wanted to know, someone made a phone call that we were stealing drugs from a location. So ICO wanted to know why we were at this location. And I mean, that was easy to explain for us. It's like, well, there was a 911 call, central dispatch gave it to us. We got the call, we went to the scene. So I don't know if it was Trimboli sitting down the block and saw us, was following us that day, and maybe saw us go into the location and didn't realize we got it from a 911 call, or there were other cops and narcotics officers watching the place, and they saw us go into the location and didn't realize it was a 911 call, or did, and they just wanted to try to get us in trouble. I don't know. But we just explained to the ICO, yeah, we got a 911 call at such and such a time. It's written in the memo book, the address we went to, and we gave back the call as unfounded. There was nothing there when we got there, and we left. So that was squashed, and my partner got a shotgun out of it. So those are a few of the situations. I know there was something else I wanted to tell you about. I already forgot. See, if I don't write things down on the dry erase board, I forget about it. I know there's really nothing new with the movie update. Contracts are up in February. They expire. They most likely will be extended if they don't get started filming. I haven't talked to director or the screenwriter in probably 2-3 months now. It's been a while. As everybody knows, Ben Stiller is the director, and Bo Wilmon from House of Cards is a screenwriter. I believe they're working on the screenplay together. So I really have no updates on that. I know there was something else I'll probably remember after I go off. All right, so I guess we'll call it for today. Please like, share this video, put down some comments, what you guys think about it. And thanks for coming by. I appreciate you guys coming back every time and send me some more Q&As. Thanks very much. Talk to you guys next time. Bye.